Hello, it is our Scottish Euros 2024 preview with Charles Davey and Alex Lebox.
Hey everyone, how are we
Um,
doing?
yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are we all?
Excited for the Euros. Happy to be our Scotland expert on here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Me as well. I'm excited about the Euros now. It's coming up. Not so excited about Scotland's chances, but we are going to be coming on to that, aren't we, Harry?
We are indeed, and Scotland's been taking a pounding in the first two episodes from our Euro guests. Seems like everyone likes to pick on the old R. So I think that's Ireland there. I've made it blunder. I think I've combined the two countries.
Shocker,
Um,
Harry. Shocker, Harry.
So, I'm obviously a United fan. The first things that I want to touch upon is Super McTominay. He has been a bit of a game changer, really, for the Scots in Euro qualification, and a bit for United earlier in the season. How much of an impact do you think he could have in the tournament?
Yeah, we've all been calling him the Scottish Haaland. He's an absolute goal threat. And, you sometimes get those players that, for whatever reason, they are not average at their club, but they're not the standout player at their club, but they put on an international shirt, especially for teams that have a little less depth, and they just turn up. And I think for McTominay, he's been exceptional for us. He's stood up, and I think it's only Lukaku, Ronaldo, Mbappe, and Harry Kane who were ahead of him in goals scored in qualifying, which is a pretty fine list to be in, considering he's a central midfielder and who has even been deployed as a centre back within the Scotland team.
Yeah, I want to touch on that, what Charles just said, Harry, and just say that I think McTominay has found a really good niche with this Scotland squad, and we see it quite often. We've seen it over the years where players will adapt a different role for their national team and really pull out some great performances. I think we're seeing that with McTominay. I don't see him setting the world on fire at Manchester United week in, week out. I don't think he's world class. I think he's a good football player in a struggling United squad. I'm not doubting his ability, but I'm just wondering, when it comes to competition time, when the scrutiny is on McTominay, when he's not playing in these qualifiers, whether or not he's going to have that same impact at this tournament. We're looking at teams like Switzerland, Hungary, who are very capable of putting on some very good displays in international football. And of course, Germany. I think it's going to be that one step too far, and we're not going to see McTominay shine like he usually does for both club and country. I think it's going to be a struggle for him at this tournament.
And it's also a case of the players. Oh, sorry. Did you want to butt in there, Charles, and have a rebuttal?
No, just
no. He's just doing sort of general bartering.
Well, obviously McTominay is in the tournament, but it's a case of also who's not there. And obviously, as a Scots fan, is it a bit rueful that we've got the injury problems that you've got, and then we've also got for you the players that were a bit snaky and didn't choose to play for you.
Yeah, it's a tough one, actually. So Scotland's one of these nations where we're definitely in a development cycle, and we need to rely on those players who maybe have dual nationality, could play for England, could play for Scotland, etc. A massive blow for Scotland is Lewis Ferguson. And actually, a lot of people, especially a lot of our UK viewers, won't know that much about Lewis Ferguson, but he's been absolutely ripping it up in Serie A. In fact, he's the Serie A player of the season for Bologna, which is huge. But unfortunately, he had a season-ending injury in April, so we're not going to see him at the Euros. And actually, I think he is potentially the future of this squad, that kind of the creativity and control that maybe an Aaron Ramsey had for Wales. That's what Lewis Ferguson could have been bringing to the Scotland squad. And I think also this squad, it's all about depth for us. It's about when your starting 11 can't be there, who comes in. And we are missing some players in the likes of maybe Nathan Patterson being out or Aaron Hickey being out. Even Kieran Tierney has been has had a lot of injuries over the course of the season. So I hope we've got our strongest squad there. I'm going to put some names out for the two of you on players that could have played for Scotland that have either chosen not to or have yet to work out what their agreement is. The first one, and probably the highest profile, Anthony Gordon. He could have been putting on a Scotland shirt these Euros. Instead, he will hopefully, I imagine, get into an England squad, but he's certainly not going to be in their starting 11. But Anthony Gordon and also his other Newcastle teammates, Harvey Barnes could be in the squad for Scotland. Tino Livramento could be in there. We've got Jason Steele down at Brighton, who's been an incredible keeper for Brighton since De Zerbi's come in. He could have been putting on a Scotland shirt. It's about finding those extra players, and I think for us, the only one that I think will come good is Elliot Anderson, who is coming from Newcastle again. He's had a bit of injury problems this season, but he's started getting the game time, and he's played for us at youth level, so I hope he comes in. What are your views on that? Do you think you should choose your strongest country you can represent, or the one that means the most to you?
I want to butt in and just say I think Scotland have qualified. Quote me if I'm wrong. This is their second Euro competition in a row that they've qualified for.
Absolutely.
So what I want to say on this is that can only harvest not only enthusiasm around Scottish football, but it will also show young players like we just mentioned, Anderson coming through at Newcastle, the likes of Gordon and Harvey Barnes as well. These players, Gordon and Barnes have probably missed the train a little bit, but if Scotland have a good Euros or show up and look good and have a couple of good games, I think maybe have a couple of moments, headline moments where they take the lead and all the Scottish supporters are going crazy and kissing the badges. Young players look at those moments and go, hey, hang about, I could have a little bit of that. And we haven't seen that from Scottish football for a very, very long time. And it's been in the doldrums a little bit. So I think Scotland being at the Euros, we talk about success, but them just being there will breed that sort of success that young players will look at and think, do you know what? I want a little bit of that pie as well. So I think it's great for Scottish football. I think it's great they've got these young players in and around the squad wanting to put that blue jersey on. And I think qualifying for the last two European competitions can only be, extremely beneficial for the Scotland as a nation in terms of football. We've seen it recently with Republic of Ireland, who haven't qualified for as many competitions, and we've seen probably two of the biggest names in world football decide to play for England. And I don't mean the biggest names, I mean in terms of home nations, in Declan Rice and Grealish. And you look at those two players and the impact they've had on the England team, and you wonder what they could have done for Republic of Ireland. It's massive. And I think from Scotland's point of view, being at these tournaments can only benefit that and show the younger players that there is a pathway and there's success for playing for Scotland.
Yeah, and I think also sometimes there's a degree of pragmatism with it, where players that think, would I get into another team that maybe perform higher? Maybe I wouldn't. And then that also means that as much as you want to choose head over heart, even if like Antonio plays, I think, or Wes Morgan certainly played for Jamaica's side. So sometimes you just think, if I'm not going to get selected or get a sniff in the team, and I've still got a bit of allegiance and a bit of loyalty and a bit of a national sense of pride for another team, maybe I could chip in for them. So I think that does play a role too. But in terms of the players that are there, you've got Andy Robertson, John McGinn's had a fantastic season. I think you want to talk about a certain Hearts player as well. So how are you shaping up in terms of the ones that have elected to play for you?
So earlier in the video, I mentioned Wales as an example of where we look similar to, where you have one standout world-class player and then you start layering on different levels of talent throughout it. So if I look at someone like Gareth Bale for Wales and what he did for Welsh football, Andy Robertson has been at the top of his game for years now. Yes, he's had a couple of injuries this season, but he's back, he's firing, he is our captain, and he's world-class, and it shouldn't be underestimated what he's able to add both in a defensive and attacking mindset. But I think around him, there's plenty of talent, whether it's Billy Gilmore, McTominay, McGregor, all in the centre, whether it's taking some championship strikers who have performed well this season in Lyndon Dykes, keeping QPR up, and Che Adams, or whether you actually go to the Scottish League itself. And if you look at Lawrence Shankland, he's just coming into his own at Hearts. So he's on 29 goals and 8 assists from 40-odd games up there, which people will always say it's only the Scottish League, it's not as competitive, etc. But you can't deny when you put balls in the back of the net week on week, that pays off. And this Scotland squad have proved time and time again, they only need one or two opportunities. The ball goes in the net and you've got yourself a fantastic qualifying campaign. What we did against Spain, I don't think anyone expected us to beat them 3-0. Really good. We should have beaten them away, if I'm honest. We had a goal disallowed very controversially that would have put us in a great position from McTominay. But I think this squad's big. You know, I hope Tierney comes back. I hope Angus Gunn in goal now feels very secure. He's had a lot of clean sheets. This Scotland squad is not just here to make up the numbers. There is a genuine chance that we can get out of this group, which is very competitive, like all the groups are, and we'll just see how far we go.
I'm sucking in air. Go on, Harry. What do you think?
Well, I was wondering. Well, it leads on nicely to what I was going to say. Obviously, Switzerland upset the apple cart last time around, beating France and taking Spain's penalties. They'll be full of confidence, but also give confidence to the Scottish team that what shows a smaller nation can do in a group with a big beast of Germany. Hungary could be the whipping boys, I sense. But they've obviously got experience too of this sort of level. I think Scotland will make it out of the group, but it is going to all rest on that Swiss game. I know you're bursting at the seam to come in and say what you want to say about this.
Well, listen, I think it's about laying your cards out and having a look at the table and sort of being honest. I really can't see Scotland qualifying from this group. We can quote save this when Scotland top the group above Germany. But I look at it on paper, you know, Switzerland in their last game had a certain Shaqiri score. He was on the score sheet. Do you remember Shaqiri? Oh, what a player. I mean, he's 32, but he's still doing bits in the USA. I think he's playing for Chicago. You got Xhaka. You've got players like Sierra, who plays for Toulouse. I think Switzerland are a very good team. I think if you're playing them in a competition where they set up well, we're going to see a real like European aspect to their play, almost like a Champions League game. You know, they're just dangerous. And you know, Shaqiri, what a player! Unbelievable.
Well, 5-6 years ago.
I mean, you know, he can still do it. He can still pull it off. I think Switzerland are very good. I think Hungary is where Scotland can have a little bit of success, maybe. But you have got Callum Styles of Sunderland playing for Hungary. You know, I think Callum Styles could be the one who unlocks the key against Scotland. But
I'll tell you something for nothing. I think you've all gone a bit small here. And actually, from game week 1, with the first game of the tournament, we will be looking for a win against Germany. We're not here to be whipping boys and make up the numbers. And actually, you know, look at the facts. I hear it week in, week out from England fans on how small Scotland are and how you've got this great opportunity to lose yet again and sing a song about it. The reality is we're on the up. We're in the top tier of the Euro nations, the Nations League, a competition that England have just got relegated from. You're now the lower seeded teams, actually. And I think Scotland are definitely on an upward curve. We will turn up with our fans. We will have that party that everyone knows we're famous for. And we're here to get results. We live in a world where 2 wins gets you through, a win and a draw gets you through. 3rd place now gets out of groups, which, you know, Germany will probably gladly take after the whipping we're going to give them in game week 1. I can't wait for it, and I know everyone else can't wait for it. And I look forward to the fact that by the end of the tournament, the latter stages, everyone will be dressed up as Brave, really enjoying themselves.
Brilliant.
Get yourself a bottle of Bucky and enjoy it.
Hey, listen, I've got to say something here. Everybody loves the Tartan Army. I love the home nations being at these big competitions. I think it's great. It's the best atmospheres are created by the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland and Scotland, Wales. They generate such great atmosphere, party atmosphere. The Tartan Army are just sensational. I just think footballing aspects, it's going to be bloody tough. Slobberslai, how do you pronounce his name?
Don't know, because he's not going to score.
I don't know, but he's, you know, we're talking about a player who is on the cusp of being pure world class. You know, he's done well at Liverpool this season. He's not set it on fire, but there's been moments when he's looked very good. I think he's 21 as well. And for me, Germany, you talk about upward curves. You know, in club football, they're on fire, aren't they? You know, Bayern Munich, I know they're out of the Champions League now, but they looked good in parts with Harry Kane. Dortmund are in the final. Leverkusen are just doing Leverkusen things with Alonso. You know, sensational. So I think that will play. I know Germany have had a little bit of a bumpy road of late with the national team, but I think these successes for the club teams do rub off on the national team, especially with the players they've got in the squad. And I think Germany might be a bit stuttery in the group stages against Scotland. Scotland will give them a good game of football, but ultimately they're going to come out on top against Scotland. I think Scotland's success, like I said before, is going to come against Hungary. Can they then nick a draw against Switzerland? I mean, it's going to take a huge effort, but I can't see it.
I just think, I think the home nations now it's time to stand up. You can take your trousers down and take a beating from Portugal, Italy, France. I don't mind. You've been wasting everyone's time, but it's time to bring back some silverware to the UK, and I hope Scotland are at the forefront of doing that because we look great. I can't wait.
Brilliant. And before we go, I'd like to get Alex's thoughts on a certain Lyndon Dykes, who is in the Scottish picture. He was in the last squad for the 2 friendlies. You've seen him week in, week out at Loftus Road. Do you think he could be top goal scorer?
Listen, before I say anything, right, I have got nothing against Lyndon Dykes. I don't know the guy. He's probably one of the nicest blokes you could ever meet, right? Absolutely. And I don't really like over-criticising people, but he is painful to watch play football at championship level. He's absolutely painful. He's not really a striker. He's not a midfielder. He hasn't got that instinct to score. If QPR played Charles Davey up front, I reckon eventually he would probably score the same amount of goals. He'd get those little opportunities, those little moments of instinct where, like a striker sort of comes off his bum or off his knee, or he hits a sweet one on the volley like he should be doing at championship level. He does that. He sort of has little tiny moments in games, which is 10% of the game, where he's playing up front, he's in that area, and it comes to him and he just swoops on it. He's got no instinct as a striker. He's not particularly good in his build-up play. He's a pretty bad football player. He's not great. He reminds me of one of those people that you had at school who, whatever sport you played, he was generally quite good at it. I can imagine Dillian Dykes. I said it again. I can imagine Lyndon Dykes is very, very good or very average at something like volleyball. I reckon he's quite a good volleyball player, and then probably quite a good basketball player, and that sort of sweeps into football as well. He can play, he can play a little bit, but he's not championship level, and he's certainly not European level. He will not score at the Euros.
You can clip that up because with 9 goals in 36 games, 1 in 4, we're definitely going to play more than 4 fixtures at this tournament. I think he's a great asset. He's everyone's favourite Australian. Let's see how far he can go. And I would say this is Scotland's 2nd tournament in a row, and I think that rustiness is going to pay off. I think we're finally in a world where you'll see a more free-flowing attacking Scotland, and I hope Lyndon Dykes can be part of that. But watch this space, I guess.
There we are. I say no more. I rest my case.
Any final words or burning issues that we want to tackle before?
Harry, this has been an absolute pleasure being able to preview Scotland. I look forward to the other teams in the tournament and their previews. Listeners, if you are watching this right now, please feel free to give it a like and subscribe and give your views on how far you think Scotland are going.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to say one last thing as well. Monday Sportif subscribers, of course, if you can like this video, share it. And new listeners as well, if you've stumbled across Monday Sportif, we are coming live from YouTube next season. And of course, during this European 2024 competition as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got lots of new people getting involved in the channel. So sign up now. In regards to Scotland, I think it's fantastic they're there. I think it's a great thing for football. I think it's a great thing for the home nations that Scotland are there. Do I think they're going to get out of the group? Absolutely not.
Thanks, boys.